Some say the plan to create cat colonies could save cats' lives. Others say it could be dangerous to your pets and can make you sick. You may never see them, cats that lurk in the shadows and creep around the corners of your neighborhoods.
Come on, kitties! Kitty, 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 kitty!
I've been telling you about feral cats living in Tulsa since I did this story almost 20 years ago.
These feral cats will do anything to survive. They go dumpster diving in alleys like this one.
I'm glad you came.
In 2015, neighbors complained cats were taking over their North Tulsa neighborhood.
Look, see, look. Look at one right there trying to get in the house.
It's right there on the porch.
Man.
We set up cameras. During the day and at night, we captured too many cats to count. Same thing in this Midtown neighborhood.
So you know it's a problem.
7 years ago, the city wanted neighbors to trap the cats.
That's just absurd.
At the time, the city told me they didn't have enough officers to manage the problem.
That just seems like such a hassle. I mean, we all work full-time jobs to make cat catching a part-time job is just not something I would want to do.
Now, there's a new plan. Tulsan Stephanie Garrett says it's been cultivated somewhat behind the scenes. A year ago, Tulsa Animal Welfare teamed up with a nonprofit called Best Friends Animal Society out of Utah. Senior Director of National Programs Brent Tollner says Best Friends is under contract with the city, with a person on staff to help improve how the shelters run.
There was a fairly large gap between where the city of Tulsa needed to be and where they were.
Brent says the goal is to help every shelter in the nation become no-kill by 2025. That's a big undertaking.
It is. So it's a big initiative, but it's really, really important.
To do that, Best Friends starts community cat programs to help control the population. They do what's called TNR, trap, neuter, return. Trap a cat that's already living in the community, vaccinate, spay or neuter, and then return it back to the community, creating cat colonies.
They have a greater opportunity for a healthy and happy life out in the community while also not creating litters of more cats.
Where would the cats go?
It can be in parks, it can be in neighborhoods, it can be in people's storage sheds or in garages or that sort of thing. And sometimes people don't even mind that they're there.
Do you ever get into situations where neighbors disagree?
You know, I think complaint mitigation is always something that's needed in these situations, so that if you have a dispute among neighbors, like helping them come to terms. Sometimes it's just as simple as putting like pepper flakes down in the garden area so that the cats don't want to dig there.
Stephanie's owned cats, dogs, and chickens. And when she first heard the city might change its animal laws, she paid attention. She says in 2019, she saw this proposed ordinance change highlighted in red that would allow for cat colonies. What did you think when you first saw that?
Well, I didn't know what it was at first.
This draft says trap neuter returns shall be permitted to be practiced by community cat caregivers, organizations, and Tulsa Animal Welfare.
On the surface, it sounds great, but when you really drill down into it, it needs to be looked at harder. So I went home and started doing research.
And what she found, she didn't like. She thinks cat colonies create more problems.
People that aren't involved with that and say, well, there's cats over here. I don't want these kittens. I'm going to dump them. They're being fed. So it just perpetuates the issue.
And she worries cat colonies could make people sick.
I think it's a huge public health risk.
Ecologist Valerie O'Brien says cats can carry diseases like rabies, cat scratch fever, and toxoplasmosis. It's a parasite that cats excrete in their feces.
Anyone who's lived around a roaming cat knows that they love things like sandboxes for children, dirt piles that kids like to play in, gardens that people work in, and if a pregnant woman gets toxoplasmosis, that can cause abortion of her fetus, and there can be health problems as a result.
Can toxoplasmosis hurt people other than pregnant women?
Yes, it can migrate to the brain and can actually cause mental health issues.
Valerie says toxoplasmosis is the second leading cause of death among foodborne illness in the U.S. Sometimes when people have this parasite, they just think they got food poisoning.
It can handle the elements really well. And even if the cat poop breaks down and you don't even know that there's cat poop there in the soil, you can still have live plasma parasites there in the soil that can persist in the soil for up to 3 years.
3 years?
Yes.
She says community cats could also make your pets sick.
People that let their cats out to roam around could encounter one of these community cats at any time and get diseases from them.
Best Friend says when they trap cats, they vaccinate them before releasing them.
Even though the cats are vaccinated when they're first trapped and neutered and released again, the probability of being able to capture that same cat again, revaccinate that cat, check it again for parasites and deworm it and all that is very, very low.
Stephanie says this is her biggest issue with cat colonies.
I looked at, is it really effective? And the answer to that is no.
It's why she organized the group Tulsans for Public Safety.
When you believe in something, you have to act.
The National Institutes of Health published this peer-reviewed research that says trap, neuter, release programs are not effective methods for reducing public health concerns or for controlling feral cat populations. Their ability to adequately address disease threats and population growth within managed cat colonies is dubious.
They're already there in the community, and so you have 3 ways to manage them. You can either do nothing and let them breed indiscriminately, potentially catch diseases and get sick. You can round them all up and take them to the shelter and kill them, which hasn't been proven effective to remove the cat population. And so what we've found is that by trapping them, neutering them, vaccinating and returning them, we can help keep the population in check in the community while also providing safe alternatives for the cats living and staying healthy.
Last year, the mayor signed this contract with Best Friends, agreeing to develop potential revisions to ordinances to support a community cat program.
It's not good for the city. It's not good for the cats. It's not good for public health.
Stephanie wants Tulsans to have a voice.
Let the citizens make a decision what's best for them and not some outside organization.
The city has only come up with drafts of the ordinance but hasn't made any decisions. Right now in Tulsa, you're not allowed to put any domestic animal like a dog or a cat in a public place for the intention of abandoning the animal. Covering news that matters, Jana Clark, Fox 23.